For years, Starbucks was the undisputed leader of the coffee world. Companies came and went, but none could match its scale or popularity. That is, until 2017, when a new rival emerged in the Chinese market, Luckin Coffee. Not only did Luckin rapidly gain popularity, but it also set a record as the fastest Chinese company to go public on the US stock market. Today, Luckin boasts over 20,000 stores, double the number Starbucks operates in China. And by late 2024, the company plans to enter Southeast Asian and US markets, reigniting its rivalry with the global giant. Bold, isn't it? But few remember that only a couple of years ago, Luckin Coffee was considered a fraud, embroiled in financial scandals that nearly led to bankruptcy. In this video, we'll dive into the meteoric rise, dramatic fall, and remarkable comeback of Luckin Coffee. Before diving into Luckin Coffee's story, let's look at China's coffee market, a country where tea has long been the dominant beverage. Coffee first arrived in China in the late 19th century, brought by French missionaries to the Yunnan province. However, coffee production remained insignificant for most of the 20th century. It wasn't until 1988, when the Chinese government partnered with the World Bank and the United Nations to revive coffee production, that the industry began to develop. Companies like Nestlé also played a significant role in boosting coffee farming in Yunnan, which now accounts for most of China's domestic coffee production. Today, small amounts of coffee are also grown in Hainan and Fujian provinces, though this is primarily low-quality Robusta beans. Meanwhile, 80% of China's coffee imports come from the US, Brazil, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Vietnam, the latter supplying nearly half of all imports. Starbucks entered China in 1999, opening its first store in Beijing. By 2018, it had expanded to 3,500 stores across 141 cities, holding around 60% of the coffee shop market. Other players like McDonald's McCafe and Costa Coffee trailed far behind. Against this backdrop, a new player emerged in 2017, Luckin Coffee, founded by Qian Zhiya. The brand name, Rui Xing Cafe in Chinese, was initially Lucky Coffee in English, later modified to Luckin to avoid confusion with other companies. While Starbucks focused on creating inviting spaces where customers could spend time, Luckin Coffee took a different route, prioritizing convenience and efficiency. The company embraced a takeaway model, targeting busy lunch hours when long lines often deterred customers. Luckin's solution: orders placed via a mobile app, allowing customers to choose pickup or delivery. This streamlined approach saved time for users and boosted operational efficiency. Over time, Luckin expanded its channels, partnering with third-party platforms and integrating mini-programs to solidify its image as a tech-savvy coffee chain. From the start, Luckin aggressively built its brand. In 2017, it recruited two high-profile baristas, Andrea Lattuada, a world barista champion, and Pan Jimin, a China barista champion. These moves enhanced Luckin's reputation for quality. Its first major advertising campaign, featuring celebrities, made the brand instantly recognizable. Although the campaign exceeded its budget, the payoff was immense. By May 2018, just 6 months after its trial launch, Luckin Coffee had 525 stores. By the end of the year, this number had jumped to 660. The company's rapid expansion was fueled by an aggressive marketing strategy. First cups free, promotions like buy 2, get 1 free, 50% discounts, and free delivery. If an order took more than 30 minutes, customers received coupons for complimentary drinks. Luckin Coffee maximized visibility through WeChat, offering discounts of up to 30%, and running other enticing deals. This burning money strategy proved remarkably effective. By the end of 2019, Luckin had opened 4,500 stores, an average of 6 new locations daily. Its focus on strategic, cost-effective locations, such as underground floors and secondary spaces in high-density areas, helped cut expenses while maintaining accessibility for customers. In just over a year, Luckin had surpassed Starbucks in the number of locations in China, a feat Starbucks had taken 20 years to achieve. But this meteoric rise raised questions. Could this strategy be profitable? And how long could Luckin sustain such aggressive growth? To get the full picture of Luckin Coffee's rapid rise, let's dive into the team that made it happen. The company was founded by three key individuals: CEO Qian Jia, CMO Yang Fei, and COO Liu Jun. None of them had prior experience in the coffee industry. However, they all shared one thing in common: a history with the Chinese car rental giant, Shenzhou Zuche. Before launching Luckin Coffee, Qian Jia was the second in command at China Car Rental, working under chairman Lu Zhengyao. Lu not only became Luckin's largest shareholder, holding a 30% stake, but also brought in other trusted allies. His sister owned 12% of Luckin, while Qian held 19%. Additional key shareholders included Lu's longtime associates, Li Hui and Liu Erhai, founders of Centurium Capital and Joy Capital, with 12% and 7% stakes, respectively. Luckin's meteoric rise wasn't accidental. Qian Jia leveraged her expertise in scaling businesses from her time at China Car Rental. She recognized the untapped potential in China's coffee market, where average annual consumption was just 4 to 5 cups per person, compared to 360 in Japan and 400 in the US. The market was ripe for disruption. With Lu's backing, Qian implemented an ambitious strategy: dominate the market with low prices, attract major investments, go public, and then gradually increase prices to generate profits. Luckin's strategy was a textbook example of scaling fast. Within 7 months of its official launch, the company completed 2 funding rounds, Series A and B, raising $400 million. By December 2018, Luckin was valued at $2.2 billion. Such a high valuation was only possible because of confidence from prominent investors, including Centurium Capital, Joy Capital, Legend Capital, Singapore's GIC, and China International Capital Corporation, CICC, many of whom were longtime collaborators of Lu Zhengyao. In April 2019, Luckin secured another milestone investment when BlackRock, one of the largest global asset managers, poured $125 million into the company. This pushed Luckin's valuation to $2.9 billion. BlackRock's involvement created a media buzz since it was also a major shareholder in Starbucks. For many, this was a vote of confidence from the international investment community. Luckin's rapid ascent culminated in its IPO on Nasdaq in May 2019, just 1 month after filing. The company raised $695 million, achieving a market capitalization of $4.25 billion. It set a record as the fastest Chinese company to debut on the US stock market and the largest Asian IPO on Nasdaq that year. On its first day of trading, Luckin's stock price surged by 45%. Luckin's IPO was a resounding success, but its business model raised concerns. From its inception to the quarter before the IPO, Luckin had accumulated total net losses of $312 million. In 2018, the company sold 90 million beverages. Yet, while the average revenue per cup was $1.30, the net loss per cup was a staggering $2.57. In other words, for every cup of coffee sold, Luckin effectively gave away the equivalent of 2 more cups for free. Many wondered how a company with such enormous losses managed to attract high-profile investors. Qian Jia's response was simple: "These losses are part of our strategy." Customer acquisition through subsidies is a deliberate choice. After going public, Luckin intensified its expansion. Each new store launch was accompanied by aggressive promotional campaigns to attract customers. However, this rapid growth came at a cost. Investors began to demand more transparency, especially in financial performance, as promises of future profitability were no longer enough. By early 2020, cracks in Luckin's story began to show. Despite its history of steep losses, the company reported unexpectedly reduced losses in the second and third quarters of 2019. Additionally, Luckin claimed its stores were outperforming Starbucks in both sales volume and average revenue per store, a bold claim given Luckin's smaller store sizes. This miraculous growth caught the attention of skeptics. In January 2020, the American investment firm Muddy Waters published an 89-page report accusing Luckin Coffee of financial fraud. The report, prepared with input from the Chinese investment firm Snow Lake Capital, alleged that Luckin had been inflating its sales figures and manipulating pricing data. The key accusations included fabricating daily sales numbers by inflating the reported volume of orders and misrepresenting average transaction values to paint a more favorable financial picture. The evidence cited was detailed. Investigators observed customers at Luckin stores, analyzed 25,843 receipts from 2,213 locations across 45 cities, and surveyed over 10,000 customers. The report concluded that, contrary to Luckin's claims of selling 400 to 500 cups per store daily, actual sales were closer to 200 to 300 cups. This was because order numbers across China were randomly inflated and skipped. When you place an order, you're typically assigned numbers like 100, 101, 102, and so on. But Luckin Coffee was skipping numbers, with 3 consecutive orders receiving numbers 100, 103, and 107. After the report's release, Luckin's stock price dropped by 20%. The company dismissed the accusations, claiming the methods used in the report were flawed and the conclusions inaccurate. For a moment, it seemed the storm might pass. Just 2 months later, in April 2020, the situation took a shocking turn. Luckin Coffee admitted to fabricating financial data. The company disclosed that from April 2019 to the end of the year, it had inflated revenues by $302 million and overstated expenses by $173 million. Operating profits were similarly falsified, showing an additional $130 million that never existed. The fraud came to light during an audit by Ernst & Young, Luckin's external auditor, which had refused to certify the company's 2019 financial statements due to irregularities. Faced with strict U.S. reporting requirements, Luckin had no choice but to come clean. The company attributed the fraud to its chief operating officer, Liu Jian, and several employees under his supervision. Following the admission, Luckin's stock price plummeted by more than 80%, wiping out $5 billion in market capitalization. Major institutional investors, including Capital Research, Bank of America, UBS, and Credit Suisse, suffered significant losses. In June 2020, NASDAQ delisted Luckin Coffee, and the company agreed to pay $180 million in fines to the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission for misleading investors. It also settled a class action lawsuit with a $187 million compensation fund for shareholders. Remarkably, these penalties were relatively light compared to similar cases of financial fraud, where companies often face bankruptcy or are forced into acquisitions. While most companies would have crumbled under such circumstances, Luckin Coffee charted an unexpected course toward recovery. The key to its survival lay in a complete overhaul of its leadership and strategy. Centurium Capital, one of Luckin's key investors, stepped in to stabilize the business, injecting an additional $240 million. The new management team, led by Chairman Guo Jinyi, focused on restoring credibility. Guo immediately implemented sweeping changes. First of all, a special committee of independent directors was formed to investigate the fraud and expel those involved. Next, the company fully cooperated with regulators to demonstrate accountability. And finally, Luckin revamped its corporate values, adopting a philosophy of truth-seeking and pragmatism. The company also restructured its operations to prioritize efficiency over aggressive expansion. Unprofitable stores were closed, while profitable locations received more attention and resources. Marketing shifted from heavy discounting to building a sustainable customer base willing to pay higher prices for quality coffee. Luckin's leadership recognized that recovering from the scandal required more than operational efficiency. It needed to win back customers. The solution: product innovation. By adopting a test-and-learn approach, Luckin began experimenting with new drinks tailored to Chinese tastes. One key insight was that many consumers in China preferred milk tea over coffee. Luckin responded by blending these preferences to create beverages that bridge the gap, such as the oat milk latte. The real breakthrough came in April 2021 with the launch of its coconut milk latte, a unique drink that immediately resonated with customers. It became an instant hit, helping Luckin achieve positive operating profits for the first time. Gross margins jumped from 24% to 36%. Building on this momentum, Luckin introduced a series of innovative products, many of which became annual bestsellers. Highlights included the Coconut Cloud Latte, developed in collaboration with coconut palm, and the Maotai Latte, created with the famous Maotai liquor brand. The Maotai Latte became a phenomenon, selling over 100 million cups on its launch day alone. Another critical element of Luckin's resurgence was its shift to a franchise model. To expand efficiently while reducing costs, Luckin launched a program aimed at smaller cities. Surprisingly, the company didn't charge franchise fees, making its model attractive to local operators. This strategy paid off. By the end of 2023, Luckin had over 16,000 stores, with 5,620 operating as joint ventures. Additionally, the company encouraged a shift towards self-pickup orders to cut delivery costs. By 2023, 80% of orders were for pickup, compared to just 40% in its earlier years. Luckin's disciplined approach worked. In 2022, the company posted an operational profit of $165 million on $1.8 billion in revenue, achieving an operating margin of 8.7%. This marked a dramatic turnaround from its earlier struggles. While Luckin was rebuilding, former executives Lu Zhengyao and Qian Jia launched a rival company, Luckin Coffee, employing Luckin's early aggressive expansion tactics. By August 2023, Luckin Coffee had opened over 5,000 stores and was growing even faster than Luckin during its peak. The two companies now compete head-to-head, from store locations to pricing wars. Luckin Coffee's rise, fall, and recovery is a story of resilience, strategic pivots, and innovation. It proved that even after a massive scandal, a company can rebuild if it adapts to market needs and earns back trust. What do you think? Can Luckin Coffee maintain its momentum and stay ahead in China's fiercely competitive coffee market? Or will challenges like Luckin Coffee and market saturation slow its growth? Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks again, and bye.